Every big discovery starts with a closer look. This is Magnify Child Care, presented by Academic Explorers. Guided by our promise to put the child first, we're zooming in on what makes these early years so important. Sharing the stories that shape us, focusing on what matters most. Let's start exploring.
Welcome to Magnify Child Care, a podcast for parents and providers. We are your hosts, Danielle, Gaelle, and Rochelle.
Hello.
No, we are not sisters, but we are a part of the best childcare management team, Academic Explorers.
Yes.
Academic Explorers is a company of childcare centers across Long Island, New York. We currently have 4 locations serving Nassau County in Roosevelt, Merrick, Uniondale, and we are on the campus of SUNY Old Westbury, which is super cool. But before we get into more about AE, as we like to call it, or about ourselves as part of the management team, we figured it would be best to share a little bit more about why we're here in the first place. Why did we decide to start this podcast, Magnify Child Care, and what's important about this industry enough that we need to spread the word.
Let's jump into it.
Okay. So the purpose of this podcast is absolutely, like I was saying at the top, to highlight the importance of the childcare industry in general. There is so much within childcare that needs attention. Yes, this is a $60 billion industry across the nation. However, it is crippled right now and fractured in so many different ways. Childcare is often overlooked, disregarded. It's often shamed in the news. We hear these horrific stories about all the horrible things happening in daycare centers or schools. But there's also so much good. And on top of that, childcare is the backbone of the economy. If we don't have childcare, if it doesn't exist, then we don't have working parents, or we have parents who have to make the difficult decision between either choosing to not work or choosing to wait or not have children at all until they can afford to have at least one parent stay home with their child until they go to elementary school.
And there's just so much more misunderstanding when it comes to childcare. Parents not knowing about certain policies that are in place and just the cost of childcare and how expensive it may be.
And teachers thinking that there's way more money to share into their paychecks.
Right, when there's not. Also, administrators that don't know the regulations well enough in order to defend themselves during licensing inspections or to prevent any incidents or violations or citations from happening. Owners also that might not be fully aware of best business practices, because in childcare we're taught to go to school for early childhood education or to, study child development in college. But nobody, when you get a license, they don't prepare you for the business side, the labor laws and compliance with all other things outside of the industry that as a business owner you do have to know. There's so much misunderstanding that it would be great to have a space where we can bring all the, stakeholders together, our parents, our teachers, our administrators, and childcare owners. Everyone that is a game player within this industry needs to be brought together in one space to understand it better. But before we get into specific subjects like that, deeper in further episodes, we did figure that it would be best to start off this first one with sharing a little about Academic Explorers, so you know where this is being presented from, and a little bit about us as hosts so that you know why we're qualified to be speaking on these subjects. So, Ms. Rochelle, do you want to kick us off with a little about you?
Yes, I would love to. So, hello, everybody. My name is Ms. Rochelle. I am the Executive Director of Academic Explorers. I've been working for Academic Explorers, about 5 years? 5? Feels like a lifetime, but I want to say it's about 5 years. I've been in this field, I can't give an exact amount of years. It varies because I started off as like a camp counselor at the YMCA in Pennsylvania. Then I took a little break from childcare, and I told myself maybe I don't want to go back into childcare. And then stumbled upon Academic Explorers, and now years after, I'm here.
So how old were you, if you don't mind sharing that, like when you started at YMCA?
I was 14. So my mom had her own youth program, and she put me on as a camp counselor. I started off there doing just for the summertime. And then when I turned 18, I started off in the actual daycare program. So I started off as an assistant teacher, but also I was a floater. Sometimes we did transport kids to and from school, so I would pick up the kids with the drivers. And then I went to a lead teacher. I shift around from classrooms as a lead teacher, depending the need. And then came from Pennsylvania to New York.
Okay.
You mentioned you took a pause. Why?
So I really wanted to be a social worker. I told myself that's what I wanted to do. I know I wanted to work with children, but I was really leaning towards being a social worker. I moved to New York and then ended up getting pregnant with my daughter. And then I got pregnant with my son, and I was looking for a job. But again, I didn't want childcare. I told myself maybe I want to go back into childcare. So then I actually started working at Chick-fil-A and became a supervisor over there. And then I was looking for childcare because I was working at nighttime and I need something during the day. And that's when I came upon Academic Explorers.
Okay.
I enrolled my kids with the company, and when I was speaking to the director was telling me how they had an opening within one of their classrooms. And she's like, I think you should go for it. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go back into childcare again.
Right.
And then 5 years later, I'm here.
Still here.
I'm still here. Started off as a lead teacher at our Merrick location.
Were you the lead?
I was the lead infant teacher.
Oh.
I was
And you
with
were
the
her
babies.
director.
And he was my director. Gaelle, you were actually the one who gave me my tour when I enrolled my kids.
That's right.
I came in there with my double stroller trying to push my way through.
Yeah.
And you took, you ain't going to help you. And you helped, I think it was with my daughter, you helped take her out. And then, then you became my director when I was at Merrick. And then I became the director of Merrick.
Right.
And then got promoted to executive director. And now we here.
Do you feel like, I was listening to a different podcast the other day where someone was talking about how in early childhood programs we tend to promote leaders into positions too fast. Do you feel like you moved too fast into administration? First of all, you're doing excellently, which is why you're in the role you're in today. But did you feel ready to take on that responsibility?
I didn't in the moment because, again, I did not have no background in being a director. I did it in the moment. But as time went on, I learned new things every day. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys were getting tired of me, but the amount of times I would text you guys like, hey, I have a question about this. Like in the beginning, you mentioned like admins not knowing about certain policies and when the licensor comes. And again, as much as you read, you're never prepared for when you get that knock on the door and the licensor comes. So I don't think I was prepared for the position. But as time went on, I learned certain things. I got a system in place. The help of my staff kind of made things easier as well. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of all flowed together.
Awesome.
Okay.
With that being said, do you feel like you were better prepared for the executive director position?
I do, only because with being the executive director, I oversee like all 4 of the locations. So kind of taking the dynamic that I have built at Merrick and kind of just spreading it amongst the other 3 locations. And then again, building that relationships, not just before it was with my 12 staff, mm-hmm. Now it's with like the 4 directors and giving them the knowledge that I have, being able to put it onto them and have them expand if they want to expand.
Okay. Miss Gaelle, what about you? Can you tell us a little about yourself?
I just started here. No. Oh my goodness. I started this field when I was 16, helping my grandmother babysit. I've been with the company for 8 years.
Wow.
Not to show, my age. I started as school-age teacher.
Really?
Yeah, I'm digging back in my brain. It's so long ago. School-age teacher, transitioned to assistant director. Then director. Then director. Then,
No, you skipped one.
Hold on. See, I had to, I'm thinking so long ago. A school-age teacher, assistant director.
Before director, you were operations manager.
That just means you have so many titles.
Oh, my.
Can't
Do
keep
you
track.
remember that?
No, because wasn't I also the director at Uniondale, or was I acting director
You
in
were-
operations?
When I moved out of the building to after I stopped being the director.
Yes. See, got many hats.
Yeah.
Operations manager, acting director again at Uniondale, parent coordinator.
Correct. And now,
Drum roll.
Education director.
Yes.
Yes.
The path that you guys took to be in the positions that you are now, for context, for anyone who isn't aware or doesn't know much about Academic Explorers, we just opened our first location. And I say just because it still feels like just. But we just opened our first location as of last week, that from the airing of this episode. It will be 9 years ago. So the company's only 9 years old from our very first site. And we already have 4 locations, contracts with 2 school districts, a contract with the State University of New York to be on the campus. I say that to say that we have grown fast as a company. And with fast growth, rather than hiring a bunch of people from outside, we would really prefer to see what qualities our staff from within have. And if we can meet the needs, meet the administrative needs of our growing company over the years with the people we already have, it would be ideal for us to give opportunities for growth. And you guys have shown over the years that you are ready for growth opportunities. We have had some staff who prefer to stay where they are and not move just as of yet, but you guys have both shown interest and curiosity and want and the desire to be in higher positions. So as they become available, and if you're qualified to move into those spaces, then why not?
I agree. And again, in childcare, sometimes you think, like you said, there is some times where people think they can only stay as a lead teacher. Like, you start with the company, you're going to be a lead teacher, and they think they're only going to be in that role for years. But I can't speak about other companies, but working at AE, I would have never thought I would be in the position I am now. And then just being able to see the growth that you're able to, like, I didn't even know, in all these years I know you, I never knew you was a school-age teacher. I have always known you as a part of the management team. Never knew you was in the classroom.
That's great.
That's a shocker.
Oh, you thought that I hired her to be in admin?
I thought
at the beginning.
I thought you were always an admin. Like, I didn't even know you as assistant director. I have always known you as a director. I didn't know you was assistant director. But now that I found out you was a school-age teacher.
Yeah.
So what made you interested in childcare in general? Like, have you always been in childcare, or where were you before AE?
That's funny. I started off with childcare. My grandmother had a home babysitting service. And then honestly, even before that, I come from a very big family of cousins. One aunt had 4 kids, and then her kids ended up having 5 kids. And then her other kids ended up having 3 kids. So we just, our block was the block with all the kids. Everybody would come over and just play. I was around kids growing up. My grandma had a babysitting service to the point where all her kids she babysit knew me by first name when I would come home from school and I would help her. And then, of course, I got 18 and I kind of stopped childcare. And I remember thinking about it. I moved to Miami and got into the yachting business. I was a stewardess on a yacht for almost 2 years. And then I came back home for a little bit. And then I got pregnant with my daughter. And it made me pay back to what you said when you first in the beginning of the podcast about parents wanting to stay home and not put their children in daycare. So when I got pregnant, I stayed home with my daughter for 1.5 years because I didn't want to put her in daycare. And then me thinking like, oh, let me go back to school to be a teacher, be a daycare. Only really, if I'm going to be honest, so I could hopefully work where she'll possibly be. Because I was skeptical about putting her in daycare. Before I even knew anything details about childcare, I was the typical parent that put them all under one umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
And just knew that, you know, they wouldn't be honest. So I figured if I go to school, apply, get my foot in the door, she's in the door, I could just watch her. But then working, it just brought back all the love, all the carefree of being around children. And it's going to sound funny, but working with children, you kind of get away with acting like a child. Like, you have fun in the activities. You have fun in just being silly, and you say it's for the kids, but part of you likes being silly a little bit too.
And that makes your day go by faster. Like, if you can't sit and have fun with the kids, like, make the day. That's what I used to do when I was in the classroom. Like, I would make the activities and make the day as fun for me as it possibly could be, so that it's not like I'm just watching the clock.
And you're creating core memories for them. I know this sounds funny. They're core memories for me too, because I remember having fun. But just think about the kids themselves, how that's also a core memory for them, that I have fun at summer camp. We build a volcano, and it stays with them.
My friends make fun of me when I go to their house and I sit on the floor, and they're like, "Why are you sitting on the floor? There's a couch." I'm like, "Because I'm so used to being on the floor with the kids that I love. I'm comfortable down here.
Comfortable. If I take off my heel, let's sit down. If it's a part of whatever, let's get down and
sing those songs."
But it's embedded in you a little bit after a while.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. What about you?
Me?
Yes. Who are you? What's your name?
So, like I mentioned before, Academic Explorers started now 9 years ago. But before this, I had a home daycare, a group family daycare in Queens. Not too far from where our current locations are now, but because the distance to get, like, a lot of the families that came to my home daycare would walk to me. So there was no way of, like, continuing on that brand and, like, expanding it out here, because nobody was able to travel this far, even though it's like a 20-minute drive. It's not feasible for New York families. But anyway, I had the home daycare for about 2 years before we started the startup process for Academic Explorers. And I kept it open for another year and a half while we were transitioning. But before that, I was working in a different daycare center in my hometown of Valley Stream. I worked in that daycare from 2010 until 2014 when I started my home-based program. I always knew that I wanted to. Well, I thought I wanted to be a teacher in an elementary school. That's what I grew up thinking, that I'm going to go to college for education, specifically to be a public teacher. So that's what I went to school for too. After high school, I went to St. John's and I studied childhood education to be an elementary school teacher. But by my senior year of college, I actually opened up my home daycare.
Pause you there. What light bulb went off that made you go shift from a teacher to daycare owner? What happened in between that gap?
So, Mr. Paige, my dad is the most supportive person, not even just parent. Like, he's very supportive to anybody that comes into his presence. So what happened was I did know that I wanted to teach in elementary schools. Throughout high school, that was my journey of, I'm going to go to school and be a elementary school teacher. And then one day I went to open a center. And I was set on, I'm going to go to school in Florida. I'm going to teach, come back to New York to teach, and then maybe when I retire, I'll open a daycare. And the reason for that was because from my senior year of high school throughout college, I was working in a daycare. That in 2010, I was going into my senior year of high school. So that's when I started working in the other daycare, and I was very sure that was going to be my path. Finish high school, go to college in Florida, start teaching back here in New York, and then maybe someday in the future open a center in Florida. I remember that being like my plan. Mm-hmm. But in telling my dad this plan, he was asking me questions. He probably won't even remember, but he was asking me a lot of questions about starting up or what does it take or whatever, to the point where I started Googling it because I didn't know. Like, I didn't know that daycares, you needed a license. I didn't know how much it would cost. I didn't know anything about regulations. Yeah. So I was just Googling it to see what it takes. Mm-hmm. And if you don't already know this about me, I can get very obsessive.
Oh, no.
I can get very obsessive over the things that I'm excited about or interested in. In preparing for this podcast, all night I was just watching videos about.
I believe it.
I started to send them to you, and I was like, "Oh, it's too late." But yeah, I just started doing deep dive research into how to open a daycare. What does it look like? What the regulations are? All of that, and I was telling him about what I was finding, and he was like, "Oh, you should talk to so and so." He had a friend who was has a lot of businesses and properties in this area, and he pushed me to talk to his friend, just to pick his brain, I guess, in a way. And at that time, when this conversation is happening, I'm like 20 years old in junior year of college. I'm having a great time.
I was about to say, our mindsets were a little different. I told you I wasn't thinking of opening no daycare.
Right. I might have even been 19 because my birthday is late. So I got into my junior year of college.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about opening a daycare at 19.
So, right. So he makes me talk to his friend. Just to see, what it's like to open a business and whatnot. And his friend is taking me very serious about, oh, this is what you want to do? I found a daycare that was for sale in Westchester County. Just in my research of looking up things about daycare, I went with one of my coworkers and good friends at the time, as well as my dad and his friend, to this Westchester County daycare to just look around. And I'm now, as an actual adult, I'm realizing that his friend was trying to gauge how serious I am, because he was going to invest in purchasing that daycare and have me run it. I, at the time, was not thinking about that. I was just like, oh, we're in a daycare center.
We're here.
Yeah, like, this is cool. I'm thinking about the old daycare I work for. I wish my daycare had that, like,
innocence.
I just was not taking it serious. So fast forward about a year. During that year, I continued looking things up because I just like to be well informed. Again, I'm interested. I'm looking up different things about daycare. I'm talking to my friend, my coworker about it. And one day she tells me she's about to quit to open her home daycare, her own home daycare. And I was like, what's that? Like, I had no idea that you can have a daycare in your house. So she starts telling me about it. And now, new obsession. I'm looking into home daycares, looking into those regulations. And this was happening around the time that my roommates that I was living with in college, we were all about to go our separate ways. The year was ending and we needed to find a new place to live. So similarly with that Westchester County daycare, I came across a home daycare that was closed and trying to lease their property. And I needed a place to live. I was interested and confident about this, opening a home daycare. And my dad was supporting me and encouraging me to move. If that's what you want to do, try it. Right. So I quit where I was working and I started the home daycare. And then about a year or a year and a half into it, his friend came back around explaining that there was a building, which is now our Roosevelt location. Actually, no, he had his own building. He was building in Roosevelt. And he was offering me to partner with him to open a daycare within his building. And in doing research about the area, I found that there was a daycare very close by that was for sale. A building that was for sale that was previously a daycare that was shutting down, and he decided to purchase that property instead. well, he still built his building with the daycare in it years later, but he also decided to purchase this building and partner with me. So I know that that is not a realistic journey for most business owners to like have the privilege of having someone see something in you and invest a lot of money into your idea because they're confident that you're going to bring it to life and make it successful. I recognize that I'm very blessed in having that opportunity. But I often share that story amongst other childcare, but people that are aspiring to open childcare businesses, for them to know that literally anything is possible. You may not have the money today to do what you're trying to do. I certainly didn't have any money at all back then, but I had the strong drive, the interest, the obsession over making
The
this
late
work.
nights looking it up.
Yes, that made him recognize that and decide to confidently be like, okay, this is what you can do. This is what we're going to do together.
You know what this sounds like? Her with us. Just saying.
Exactly. I love seeing, people be passionate about things or curious, at least curious. Looking at something and saying, isn't that interesting? I love working with people who want to learn more about whatever the task is, and will sit there and just watch or ask more questions or take initiative on their own and then be like, am I doing it right? I love curious people.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of a little bit about, and I know that was very long-winded, but that is the very short version of how we got where we are today. Well, that's how we got to first location. To location number 1, yeah.
And Merrick came around when?
Merrick came in 2020 in the midst of a pandemic. I think of my younger self and I'm just kind of in awe of my ignorance. And like not ignorance. Ignorance. You know how the saying ignorance is bliss?
Mm-hmm.
I just didn't know to be nervous.
Yeah.
I didn't know to be scared. I didn't know quitting my job to start my home daycare was a risk. I didn't know to be afraid of certain risks, right? So like if COVID happened today and the industry was shaky and blah, 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 like there would be no way that I would be so confident and able to expand without worries. But when we found...
Aren't you glad you did?
No, I am. I am very glad. But that's why I said I'm in awe.
Of faith. I wouldn't say as afraid of it. She took a leap of faith and it worked out good.
No, but that's the thing. It wasn't a leap of faith because I didn't know that this was a leap. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't know.
Because I was standing on the edge. I didn't know I was standing on the edge.
Exactly.
I just took it. I jumped.
Exactly. I didn't know to be concerned or careful. Like if we think about expansion right now, I would meet with our marketing team and our accounting firm and be checking all these boxes and really doing the homework to make sure that this opportunity is a good one. Back then, it was like
building for sale. I want it.
Right. I wasn't aware of what to be afraid of, which I do feel like is a form of ignorance, but also it just worked out so beautifully. I don't regret anything. I am grateful for where we are now. I'm grateful for the blessings and the lessons, which are also blessings, to the ups and downs, all of it. I'm happy that we've experienced it because it makes us who we are today. But yeah, Merrick happened, our second location happened in the midst of a pandemic. I sent out a bunch of letters to different daycares that I figured were closing down. And that building owner responded to a letter saying that they would be happy to have us come and lease the space because they wanted out. That's how we got there. Do you want to share how we got to Uniondale, Gaelle?
I was leaving Roosevelt. I don't remember why, but I was leaving Roosevelt.
Like for the day.
Yeah.
Not no. You're making it sound like you're about to.
I was okay. Let me rephrase that again. I was leaving our first location for the day, and the Uber never took that route ever. So we're driving behind. I don't know if I should go into details, but just in case you guys know Nassau County, by the cemetery, and I'm like, oh, the cemetery is huge. I've never seen it. And we get at the light, and I see a for sale sign on a previous daycare, and I'm like, and to be very honest, hung out with Danielle so much that to the point where wherever we would drive, we would just take pictures of for sale sign. So me being on the stuck, I took out my phone, took a picture, and I sent it. I want to say I sent it to both you and your dad. I don't know if I sent it separately, but I want to say I sent it to both of you guys at the same time. And then I don't know if you responded right away, but I know eventually you was like, okay, we'll take a look into it. And then I don't know how long you guys took to call, but you guys, did we go see it together? I want to say, I remember touring it, but I don't remember if you toured first. I know you went a couple of times to see it.
I don't even know if I remember the only thing I remember about the startup of the Uniondale location, our site number 3, was the picture that you sent. But that was around the time that I was in Texas helping my mom. My mom needed me when she was living in Texas at the time for something. And I was there for like a week or two, if I'm not mistaken. That transaction happened while I was in Texas. Like it just happened so fast.
Within a week?
Yeah, it happened really quick. I wasn't even here. My dad did the paperwork. He handled going to the landlord and getting the lease and doing the signatures and exchanging the keys. Like it really happened quick.
That means you toured it then after you signed the paperwork then, because you had to come back.
No, there's no way. I just genuinely don't even remember. Okay. I don't remember touring. Like how the other locations, I have pictures and videos in my phone of us going to them for the first time. I don't think
it was a leap of faith.
That was a true
leap of faith.
I remember touring it with your dad, and I want to say you were there. I don't know why I can't remember you being there, but I want to say you were there because there was furniture in there. You were there. There were furniture in there, and we were excited that we didn't have to purchase furniture.
No, there was no furniture in Uniondale. That you're thinking of Westbury, and that wasn't a tour.
So what was it?
It was a knock. The doors open. Welcome, everybody.
Right. That was just a viewing. But anyway.
Knock, knock.
But anyway. With Uniondale, there was no furniture. We bought everything I do have. I have pictures of Kaplan boxes stacked up to the ceiling in my phone. You don't remember? I do remember, like,
does Kaplan do partnerships?
You know what?
As much as you purchased from there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's how Uniondale came about.
I want to know about Old Westbury.
Westbury?
Actually, it's a very good story because multiple things happened that we weren't aligned for Westbury, but somehow it blessed us and we got it. If we want to put a short version of it.
Right. Yeah, to make it, to condense it down. Westbury took us 2 years to get into, which makes sense because it is like a contract with New York State. It's on a college campus. It was all of our current locations were previously daycares before, different daycares, different owners, and we've never even taken on a teacher, completely different company. So same thing with Westbury. On that campus, there was previously a daycare there before. I found out about the opportunity of Westbury because we were I got an email.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's good. Sorry, I was like, you got an email?
Yeah, we got an email to our general inbox saying that there was a contract opportunity and offering us to submit a proposal for it.
Oh, so your Westbury reached out to you?
No. You know who did reach out? Some random.
Right. It is. It really is.
It was just some random. Like, I think that at the time, I thought that they were like scammers. I still don't understand what they were trying to do.
Not that you confirm they are, because they wanted to use your stuff for
right.
whatever they
I
wanted
don't
to.
Now looking into other RFPs and proposed opportunities and contract opportunities, I don't think it was necessarily a scam, but I do think it's a not ideal business practice that happens. I think it was a company that often partners with smaller businesses to get grant opportunities from different agencies that are looking for services. They basically, I think they tried to be the middleman between this contract and us and skim from it, because they brought the opportunity to us that they would take a percentage of whatever comes.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are a lot of companies like that. We just didn't need it. So I do see the need maybe for certain, like if someone is a small childcare center owner, wants an opportunity, not business savvy, not great with computers, doesn't know how to do write proposals, they might need the assistance of a management company that is familiar with grant writing and whatnot. But for me, it just came off as super suspicious and scamish. So I started to look into them more. The questions that I would call and ask them about the proposal as I was putting it together, the lady that answered would always say, I have to look into that and get back to you. Like there was at least 10 questions that every time I reached out, she would tell me she has to look into it and get back to me, which was just fishy. So one day
does it discourage you in a way?
It did. I wasn't gonna. So what I did was, instead of calling the lady from the number in the email, I just Googled SUNY Old Westbury's number and I called them. It was down to the last day of when the proposals were due, and I remember saying, I found this. I got this email about this submitting a proposal. Are you looking for childcare? Are you? I forget my exact question. And the lady was kind of rushing me, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about, but we do need a childcare operator here, and the submission deadline is tomorrow at this time. So. Right. If you want, you got to submit. And I said, okay, so do I just send the proposal to the email? And she was like, I don't know what email you're talking about, but this is the website you go to.
Yes, she had no idea what email you were talking about.
So she gave me the direct website to New York State contract opportunities. I still use it every single day to this day. I didn't know about it before. And I saw the actual proposal with all the information and all the details instead of just this glimpse summary in an email where I would have to. That the person or company that emailed me was clearly trying to hide the fact that this existed somewhere else because they were trying to be the middleman. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So now that I found the actual opportunity on the real state website with all the real contact information, I stopped talking to those people and I submitted regularly.
What a scary world we live in.
Yes. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt that it wasn't necessarily a scam. It was just not necessary for me. Because I know how to write my own proposals. And then from there, we were selected by the campus maybe a month or two later. And myself, Gaelle, and our billing supervisor at the time went to do a presentation for the decision makers on the campus. They loved us. We loved the opportunity. And it was a lot of paperwork and negotiations and legal documents for about a year and a half after that. And then we finally got the key. So we're now on year 2, year 2 of our 4th location.
A lot has happened within this last 9 years.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. There has been a lot of ups and downs and positives and negatives, good and bad, ugly, everything in between. But again, I'm just so happy to be where we are today with the team of not just these beautiful AE management ladies that we have here at the table today, but our whole entire team. In this podcast and future episodes, you will meet members of our team. So I'm excited to share our people with you. But before we end off, I would love to give what we're going to call our AEA plus. If you notice in our logo, we have an A plus in our magnifying glass. And I would love to take one person or one location or one group of people a week to just shine a spotlight on, to say that they have earned an A plus. I feel like that would be a cute little segment to do. My AEA plus for this episode is our Community Ambassador Committee. We have different committees here at Academic Explorers where our teachers can choose to join a committee to further our mission. So we have one for social media. We have one for what is it? Creative captain. Creative captain, like the decor in the building. We also have one for community ambassadors. And our community ambassadors, a couple months ago on Valentine's, during the preparation for Valentine's Day, reached out to a local hospital, and they organized our students creating cards, Valentine's Day cards for the patients in the hospital. They organized that on their own without waiting for like approvals or decisions from me. They took it upon themselves to do that, reach out to the hospital, collect it from all locations, and send it off. And it was the cutest thing.
It was. And they did reach back saying that they really did enjoy the cards, and people were happy to receive the cards.
Yes. So our Community Ambassador Committee, you get an AEA plus.
Yes. Pat yourself on the back.
All right. Well, you can find us not only here on your favorite podcast streaming platform like Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but you can also find us on YouTube. If you are only listening and not watching the video, you can find the video version of this podcast on YouTube. You just need to search Academic Explorers. I'll also have it listed in the show notes. And if you have an Instagram or TikTok, you can find us at Magnify Child Care.
And we'll see you in the next episode.
Be sure to subscribe and like this video and leave a rating and review if you can. See you later.
On the next episode of Magnify Child Care.
Cameras in the classroom. How do you ladies feel about that?
Would you ever switch over to live stream?
So there's been times where we've reviewed the cameras to find out that a story wasn't told completely right.
But I'm trusting whatever they're telling me is what's really taking place. Like,